Hey everyone, it's Bob Perkins with the AI Speaks Inside Sales Studio, bringing you a very special workshop. Today, we're going to really get into how to use video and do it like a professional. You've heard of stage presence. We're going to talk about video presence. I'm here today with Tricia Jane Wiles. Tricia, welcome.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be on the other side of the camera.
Yeah, you interviewed me a couple of weeks ago. Well, today we're going to really dig into your thought leadership around video, and you have a lot to share. Tricia is the host of Accelerating Revenue Series, also works in marketing and communications for True Influence. So today's topic, the workshop, you're going to teach people about video and the 5 requirements that every video toolkit and every person should tap into. So Tricia, all yours.
Absolutely. I'll lay out the 5 first so we can get a mindset around what we're looking at. To me, it's all about these 5 things. First, your lighting, then your video quality, then your audio quality, then the space that's around you that you see behind me here. And the last is yourself and what you add to the puzzle.
That's great. Let's get started.
Great. So for lighting gets to be unique because it depends on how you have your office set up. So my office is actually in a wide room, as you can see. I've got 2 windows here, and I've got my 2 remote controls of these windows. And what happens when I open up my blinds and I let the natural sunlight come in?
Oh,
it's great for a little bit.
You're shining.
I'm shining. This is a little bit intense. This is a little bit a lot.
Yeah.
So I have some natural light that's coming into the room behind me from my second window. And then I've actually got 2, a floor lamp and a desk lamp that are on either corner to make sure that every angle of my face is lit well, that it's warm, that it's an enjoyable presence. You've heard about color theory, and you've heard about, think back at like Trading Spaces, right? On HGTV, when they go in, they're like, oh, this warm feeling that it creates, or like this icy blue. It means something when you walk into a room, and the colors can affect how you feel.
Right.
And so to me, this is lovely and bright, but like, that's a lot. That's a lot of aggressive edges. And so making sure that I get to have this instead in a space that actually welcomes you in. It's warmer tones. It's
a little
friendly.
warmer tone. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So now you're getting even a little bit more color. And so the concept is play around a little bit. If you have too much light behind you, that can just kind of darken out your face a little bit. So use light at different angles. Use a lamp, maybe even a ring light that you might have.
Absolutely. Requirement number 2, we're going to look at video quality. So right now I'm using a DSLR camera, and I have a video capture card that lets it go into this Zoom stream for the platform we're using now. You got to know that it's important. Let's switch it up to what's happening on the computer.
Now this is your internal camera.
This is the internal computer camera. And think about when you're on a call with an individual. Think about when you're on a call with a customer or even somebody internally, and you're just here and you're talking and you're sitting and your face is in the screen. It can be aggressive. And do you want to be in this Zoom room? Do you want to be on this call? And so making sure that your video quality is clear, that it's not distracting. I actually have a specific lens. David Lewis from Demand Gen recommended this, where you get a lens that blurs out your background so that this gets to be a nice warm presence instead of being a focal point that you can actually see what's the date behind me.
And it's crisp. It's high definition. Even if you have a not so much a digital SLR camera, that's great. But even if you have like a Logitech, a USB camera, you definitely high definition is the only way to go. Correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's a necessity. I've begun to question why we're not doing this more. If everybody knows that in inside sales, you are constantly going to be communicating with a customer this way, you want them to feel welcome in your space. And if they can see you, if it's clear, if all of that extra distraction, that subconscious noise and mess gets out of the way, here's just another step in the process to make sure that you're pleasant to have a conversation with and you want to be in this space.
And the appearance is good. It's professional. It's clean. It's crisp. Okay. Number point 3.
Number 3 would be the audio quality, right? So what my tools are, I listen through my AirPods because that lets me make sure that I keep track of what's happening. I like being able to hear my guest inside my head versus through my sound and in my space. However, I use a Spark by Blue microphone. There's
Mm,
lots of great qualities out there. And I actually have an audio interface that connects to
yes.
make sure that it's not just when you plug into your computer through USB, it's another extra step. But I wanted that higher quality and I wanted to make sure that I could control that. And I just want to show you the difference when I change my mic to my AirPod. Listen to it now. How much
Wow. It sounds like you're in a can, tin can.
sounds like I'm in a can. And the thing is that I can't hear anything different. I still think that I sound great, and you never really understand what's happening on the other side. It's that same thing when you talk on the phone and you leave a voice message, like, oh my gosh, that's what I sound like. That's what this recording sounds like.
Oh, come on, go back to the other one. You sounded like you were in a recording studio in a radio station.
Right. And think about if you're on a sales call or you're on a discovery call, and maybe you're there for an hour and it's your first time interacting, and you've
Mm,
at your end of your day, you've had 3 different meetings. This goes from your 3 p.m. to your 4 p.m. time slot. Maybe you got some dogs, maybe you got some kids in the background, and you have somebody else on the other line with a grainy voice with that little
mm,
extra filminess going through your ear.
yeah.
That's not subconsciously going to make you want to be able to listen and stay on and be in that room.
You have a wind screen there too to get rid of the
Mm-hmm.
pops, right?
Yeah, and that
Mhm.
was an extra piece too, because I like Bob said, I come from the acting world and the singing world, and so that was an extra piece for me of like aesthetically, this is a really great look. And if
Yeah.
I pull this forward just a little bit, you'll see this is where the actual mic is.
Yeah.
But for my interviews and for the filming aspect of it, you can tell it's a mic, but you don't have to see the whole thing.
So what's the name of the mic again, and also the interface before it goes into your laptop?
So I've got a Spark by Blue. Blue is
Mm,
the one that also makes Yeti. They've got lots of different great qualities of microphones.
yep.
And then my interface is a Scarlett Pro, I believe.
Yes.
And I can make sure to send you the link specifically. I've got a second generation. I got it way back when I was in college and
Yeah.
was looking to do some voiceover work, and it still works. It still
It still
functions
works.
great. Still functions great. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
We're almost at number 4, or
Hmm.
we are at number 4.4.
Number 4. Okay, so this was a big one for me, space. So when I started hosting the Accelerating Revenue series, I actually was a COVID hire and was living in a different location. And so I had to look at my space and look at my office of what I could make my home into be my office, right?
Mm,
And that's the difficulty that a lot of people have faced of I have to now work from home. How do I do that? How do I create a space in my office? So before I could actually do that and had the physical spaces, we had a virtual background that was
mm.
like this, which is good. It's nice, it's clean, it's present, but
Wait, is that Casper the Friendly Ghost I'm
that's the
seeing?
thing.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Actually, Bob, funny you should mention that. My brother took a screenshot of one of my episodes, sent it to my family group chat, and was like, "The ghost is back."
and the ghost is back. I get so distracted. I mean, if you're going to use a digital background, you ought to have a true screen behind you
Hmm.
if you want to go that route. I've seen so many people's heads blur out and it's distracting. Don't you
And
know?
it's hard too because you have to find that balance. What if virtual background is all you can do?
Right.
Okay, if you do that way, you're not going to have an extra mic in your shot. You're not going to be able to talk with your hands outside of your body.
Right.
That's what creates that friction, right? If I put that virtual background back up again, I'm somebody who does like to speak with my hands because it makes sense to me. That's how I emote,
Mhm.
that's how I express.
Yeah.
But if I do this, that's what cuts it off. And so I'd
Yeah.
have to learn how to present inside of my space and my body. And that's something kind of going to the next point too of just how to be aware. Because this is really wonderful for branding for companies, for saying who you are, for having a clean professional look. Personally, I prefer this.
Yeah, and it's genuine. It's your home, and it looks clean and neat. Now, if you green screens are pretty easy to put up, right? They're
Hmm.
pretty inexpensive. That would clear away some of that digital noise, would it not?
I think it
Oftentimes.
would,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
you're looking at too of what kind of message do you want to send as your company? I've had some communications in the B2B space where some of them really rely on the fact that they are fun and they are interesting and unique. And
Yeah.
so they want to do fun virtual backgrounds that make people laugh versus like a clean professional look. And I think that gets to go to who are you and what do you represent for your company? And
Right.
are you willing to invest? Is the company willing to invest in the virtual space, the setup? If you are a new hire, are you giving part of the compensation to your onboarding process money for this equipment and these tools? Because that costs money. It's takes time and actually effort to put forward this process.
Look, my thought is you don't get two chances to make a great first impression. We've heard that before. So let's get
Mhm.
out there, do this right. These are really helpful. You have one
Yeah,
more.
I do. The last one I'm going to talk about is your personal presence.
Yeah.
So I am fortunate enough, I went to school for acting, right? So I spent 4 years in college in all black clothes, doing acting classes, taking movement classes and voice and speech. And we learned so much about your body as a whole.
Mm.
And I think that portraying yourself the way that you naturally are through camera is difficult. So
Yeah.
plainly speaking right now, Bob, I have you on a Zoom call. My video is at the bottom. So just in case I've got a hair out of place, something happened, I knocked something over, I can be aware.
Yeah.
However, when I'm talking to my guest, I'm looking at my DSLR camera lens, which is
Right.
above my computer screen.
Right.
And if I say, you are the best person in the world, I believe in you, you can do anything.
And
Or if I say that to you when I'm looking at Bob on my computer screen, you are the best person in the world, I believe in you, you can do anything.
Yeah.
It shifts your focus. And so you have to become trained and learn how to emote to an inanimate object that's a little bit different from my view. And that's something that just takes practice. It just takes a lot of focus and understanding that the person on the other end of the call is there in the space with you. They're going through the same thing as well. And if you're the one who's presenting, who's speaking, who's offering up this information, they want to look at you and listen. And so you need to sacrifice that space to give it to them through this camera, through this extra lens.
You do. And
that may be.
Tricia, it's okay. I'm looking at the camera, so it looks like I'm looking at you. It's okay to occasionally go down and
Absolutely
back, but what's not okay is having you up on my right hand monitor and be looking like this the whole time. But a lot of people do that.
Absolutely.
Some
And I
people.
think that's the difficulty of, we are all in the world's view right now.
Yeah.
Everybody is in that space, whether you're on LinkedIn, whether you're doing it for your business, whether you're on an internal call with your company now. And it's important that you present yourself in a genuine, authentic, but professional way. And for me, this has been able to help me present my best self and be genuine in that way.
Body language, you express some of your thoughts using gestures, using your hands, using some movement, eye contact. A little bit about that. How important is that?
I think it's really important. And I think that there's a few little tips and tricks that I'll give real clear.
Yeah.
You might not think about this. All right, I'm a girl, I got long hair.
Yeah.
My part shows this side of my face.
Ah.
If ever I talk to somebody and I'm opening up on this side, you see more of my face. This is like photography stuff, right?
Yeah.
What if my hair was not behind my ear and I was more on this side and I spoke to the camera on this side? Look at that difference of how closed off I am.
Completely different.
You don't realize it, but if we open ourselves up more, that body language that I'm making sure, that's why this mic is on this side, because it draws the attention and the flow of the image goes from one direction to the other, including the direction of my face and that openness that it gets to be.
All right, I'm going to be vulnerable here, and
great.
This is unrehearsed. What one little tip could you give me in my setup that might help me become a little bit more professional, better appearance, whatever? And I'm being wide open here, so bring it on.
You are a teacher, an educator, and a learner. From our conversation, that's what I've seen. So now in the background of your screen, I see books. That's a connecting piece that I don't know what they are because it's in the way of your microphone.
Aha, there you go.
And so what if I could see what those titles were? That's your little thing. And I think that you spoke about it too when we were on my series specifically of that extra connecting piece. That's that emotional human connection.
Yeah.
That, hey, if I see that who got you flowers, or what's that
Yeah.
picture behind you,
I,
right? That
yeah.
that human piece. And
That,
so
that,
if I can see your titles of your books, maybe I can have a little bit of insight of like, all right, what's Bob's brain? What's going on his side of town?
that's great. What a great tip, man. This is fantastic. Look, thanks so much, Tricia, for sharing this. Those that want to connect with you, what's the best way to reach out and further the discussion on this?
Absolutely. Find me on LinkedIn, Tricia Jane Wiles. And yes, I do host a video series, Accelerating Revenue with True Influence. And I am preparing for season 2 as we speak for next year. And I've got a lot of episodes to find guests for. So if you'd like to be a guest, just reach out to me. I'll definitely connect with you on LinkedIn. And I'd love to hear your thought leadership for the B2B industry. This is something where I've been pretty open and plain about where I come from. And so I'm continuously learning and growing in that space, and want to make sure our episodes are about the leaders in this community.
Well, thank you so much. The 5 requirements for everybody's video toolkit. Make sure you listen to this again and implement them. We'll all be better off. This is not going away anytime soon. That's the other thing.
No.
Largely, we'll be at least doing this some of the time, even if we get back to travel, back to the office. So thanks for sharing, Tricia. Everyone, have a great rest of the week. Good selling. Stay safe. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Bye.